that attitude, like what it do. I'm talking on this microphone like it's just me and you. Pull up to the block, they like the homie just got shot.
How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. I'm going to take you guys into my mastering process. People have been asking about this ever since I put up my mixing video, so here is the mastering side of it. Now let's go through the steps that I take during mastering a single. If you were mastering a whole album, you would do what I'm doing here, but also consider that every single song needs to have an overall balanced level. You don't want a really quiet song and then a really loud song right after. You want your spacing to be good between each song. So there are a couple things to consider when mastering a whole album compared to mastering just one song at a time. So this is the inside part of mastering one song at a time. Now, let's take a listen. First thing you want to do before you even start mastering, make sure you have a really good mix. You want to make sure the beat's sounding good, the vocals are all good, everything is just blended really nice to where overall it sounds like it's ready to go. Then you're ready for mastering. If there's any problems at all, you want to take care of it in the mixing stage. If there's recording problems, you want to take care of that in the recording stage. But assuming you had a good recording and you got a good mix, then you're ready for mastering. If you haven't gotten both of those yet, then you need to go back and fix that, because mastering is the very last stage. You don't want to be fixing anything. All you want to be doing is enhancing the song. So, having that said, I'm happy with the recording and I'm happy with my mix, so I'm going to move on to the mastering stage. Let's take a listen to the mix as is before we start mastering, and then I'll show you the process.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming rest in peace to my homies that didn't make it.
Alright, so that sounds good to me. And I'm going to jump on to the mastering side now since I'm happy with my mix. Now, real quick, the song is called Real Life. It's by Chubba Watts, and it hasn't been released on his mixtape yet, but it is something to be looking forward to when he does drop it. Alright, so first step, I'm going to go over to an EQ, and I'm going to pick this linear broadband EQ, and what it is a linear phase EQ. Why do I use linear phase EQ instead of regular? I don't want any coloring added. I'm happy with my mix already. I don't want to add a color to it. So I'm using a EQ that doesn't add any color. It just does my changes to the frequency, and instead of, like, a regular EQ will delay the signal a little bit. Every time you change a frequency band, it's doing a delay. Well, that's adding a color to your sound. Sometimes you could add a really cool color and it sounds great, but on my mastering phase, I don't want to be adding stuff. I already did that during mixing. So this time, what it does, linear phase EQ, I make adjustments, it causes delay, but then this EQ will also fix that delay and put it back to what it was. So there is no actual coloring, it's just your adjustments on the frequency. So that's why I use this. Now let's jump in and do some adjustments and see what we can come up with.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming rest in peace to my homies that didn't make it. For my baby girls, I give them the world, so I'm trying to change it. They say I'm gonna change when I'm getting famous. It ain't even that, it's just you motherfuckers gonna be hating. I keep it real, ain't no imitation. It's middle fingers to my enemies, cause I have no patience. I'm out here hustling, trying to overcome the struggling, grabbing the re-up and double it. Got a plotting on my downfall, cause your boy go hard.
Okay, what I'm doing here, I wanted a little bit more clarity in the overall sound. I like the warmth of it already. The mix sounds like it's really warm and put together, but I wanted just to extend a little bit of that bright part to it, just make it come through a little bit more, and then at the same time put a little bit more bang into that lower end, just get that bass and the kick coming through even more. So I just dip on the high, or do a little bell up on the high side and a little bell on the lower end around 65-70 hertz. So that is what I came up with. Let's listen before.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming
Alright, so it just brings certain elements out in the mix. Now that sounds a little bit brighter, bigger. I like that sound. So that's what I do for my EQ. It's not going to be the same for every song. Sometimes I might do a little bit of a dip instead. Sometimes I might not push up so much on the higher end or the lower end. Sometimes I might not use the linear phase EQ at all, and I'll just end up bypassing it. So it just depends on the song if it needs it or not. Now my next step, I'm going to be adding a compressor. And for mastering, I really like the SSL compressor. It has that analog warmth sound to it, and it just sounds like you're throwing glue on everything and it's sticking together now. So it just sounds like everything's working together even better. Plus, it has this cool setting right here, mastering. I click on that. It already has my release and attack good. Then I just have to, and the ratio, I like it right there where they put it. Now all I have to adjust is threshold and makeup. So let's press play and adjust that.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming rest in peace to my homies that didn't make it. For my baby girls, I give them the world, so I'm trying to change it. They say I'm gonna change when I'm getting.
Alright, so I adjust my threshold so that it's getting right around 4 decibels of the compression going in there. I don't want to go past that. That's just like a sweet spot for me. I try to keep it under the 4. And then makeup, I'm putting back in 3.7 decibels, so it's making up the compressing of that right there. Now let's listen before, and then I'll press it on so you can hear after.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming rest in peace to my homies that didn't make it.
Alright, so 2 things are happening. It sounds like it's louder overall because I'm compressing it, making the lower sounds higher, and then it's making it to where that overall sound is then being turned up a little bit. So it's an overall bigger sound, and it's also just a tighter sound. Everything's being compressed together. Last step on the mastering chain for me is going to be a limiter. So I'm going to go through and pick out a limiter here. Let's do this L3 LL Ultra Maximizer. I like this one here. It has everything I need. First thing I do is my output ceiling. I'm going to bring it down to minus 0.1. I don't want to hit absolute 0. I want that little tiny bit of space there. So I'm going to put it right there. And then I'm going to jump over to this section here. I want to quantize it down. I recorded it at 24-bit, but now that it comes down to bouncing, I want the standard format to put it on a CD. So that's going to be 16-bit. That's the standard format for a CD. I leave the dither at type 1, the shaping, I leave that normal. And then all I'm going to do is adjust my threshold so I could get an overall level that is good without pushing it too hard. If you hold this link button and you pull down on your mouse, both of the output ceiling and the threshold are going to pull down at the same time. The point of that is to be able to get the overall threshold down to where you want it, to where the signal still sounds good without hearing the volume change yet. So let's take a listen. I'm going to adjust it like that. So here we go.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming rest in peace to my homies that didn't make it. For my baby girls, I give them the world, so I'm trying to change it. They say I'm gonna change.
Alright, so right around here is the sweet spot. If I go too far down, you start hearing that the kick starts sounding different. You're going to start getting distortion eventually. So let me over-exaggerate it so you can see what happens.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game. I'm screaming rest in peace to my homies that didn't make it. For my baby girls, I give them the world, so I'm trying to change it. They say I'm gonna change when I'm getting.
Okay, so first thing you notice is the kick and snare just start sounding weird. The farther you pull down that threshold, the kick and the snare start getting pulled back a lot because those are the highest transients coming through and are hitting the limiter the hardest. So those are going to be the most affected. Now, even when you pull it past that, you're going to start getting distortion and everything's going to be affected. So a good way to find the sweet spot is make sure your kick and your snare or any transient that's coming through really hard isn't being affected to the point that it's sounding weird or different. You want to hold on to that original sound that you had on the mix. You just want an overall good level to compete with everybody else out there because of the loudness war. People like their music loud. They don't want to turn it up. They want their song to be just as loud as the other person that just released the song. So that's what we're competing with. But at the same time, we want to keep the quality right. We don't want to just make it really loud and distorted. So I found that the sweet spot right here on this song is -7. Then what I'm going to do is take my output ceiling and put it back to my -0.1 there and take a listen. So here's before. This is without it on. And then with it on.
Life's a struggle, mine, and only on black and white it be my government name. Otherwise, I'm getting paid off this dope game.
Alright, obviously it's a lot louder. It is competing with what is out there on the radio. It's the level of everything else that's out there. On my attenuation here, you can see I'm getting a little bit. I'm not overdoing it. When you overdo it on the attenuation or gain reduction, whatever they call it on your limiter, that means that it's going to start pulling down too much and you're affecting your overall sound too much transient actions coming through, and the limiter's working more. You don't want your limiter to be doing too much on gain reduction because then you could start hearing that you're doing that. We want a very transparent sound, so just loudness is what we're going for. Alright, that is it on the plugins, but you're not quite done. You need to make sure you have a good starting and ending of your song. So you go to the beginning of the song and press play. Make sure there's no space that you could hear. It's okay to have a little bit of a space. As you can see, if I zoom in way over here, I have this from right here to here is an empty space. It is 0.002. Nobody's going to be able to hear that. It's fine. But if you have a bunch of space, you'll be able to hear it. So if you wanted to, you could just grab that and chop it off. Add a little fade in so there's no clipping. And then you're going to select from there to where you want at the end of the song. Let's go to the end of the song. I'm going to zoom in here. He ends with an acapella. If yours ends with a beat, then you work off your beat. It doesn't matter either way. Press play. Listen to where it naturally feels like it ends. That means all reverb tails, if you have delays going on, any sound that is happening after the regions that you see are there, you still need to consider it. So when somebody's listening to the song, the bounce doesn't just cut off and you have no reverb tail. You want it to naturally end. So let's press play. And two ways you could go about it. You could just listen and then see where it is and go ahead and press a marker. If you press the enter button, it'll make a marker. Or you could just look at your master meter and see when there's nothing there anymore, and then that's a good point. So I'm going to do it with the marker first, and then I'll see on the master if I matched up.
Living just another day.
Alright, so right there is cool. You see I put my location marker there. Now let's look at our master. I'm going to press play and wait until this green goes all the way to the bottom to where there's nothing there. It's naturally just gone, and then see if we line up.
Living just another day.
Right there. So it was a little before. I'll move my marker a little bit over. Right there. So what I want to do is have that as my ending point. I'm going to go to the very beginning of the song now. And you can see that right here there's a little gap. That's because there's a little bit of silence that I cut out right here. I want it to start right away. So if I press play, you're going to hear music. Okay, so there, hold the shift key, select, and now you have everything from start to finish selected exactly as you want it. You're going to go into File, Bounced, Disk. Make sure you have file type as WAV. Format, you want interleaved stereo. You don't want mono, which is just in the center for like a single speaker. You don't want multiple mono because then it's two separate files. You want it interleaved. Bit depth, 16-bit is CD quality. 44.1 CD quality. And then you go ahead and press bounce, and that's it.
sip a drink. I'm trying to make a living, this ain't a dream. I'm high off the weed, blinded with my team. I'm picking up on bitches, headed back to my suite. I'm out here hustling, trying to overcome the struggling. Grabbing the re-up and double it. Got a plotting on my downfall, cause your boy go hard. I'm playing the game like a deck of cards. I thank God using prayer hands. Self-made in this game, I'm self-made, so I'm getting paid. This shit'll never change, I'm on a paper chase. I'm out here hustling, trying to overcome the struggling. Grabbing the re-up and double it. Got a plotting on my downfall, cause your boy go hard. I'm playing the game like a deck of cards. I thank God using prayer hands. Self-made in this game, I'm self-made, so I'm getting paid. This shit'll never change, I'm on a paper chase. And thank God, cause I'm living just another day.